Well, good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Nurse Mark and the Green Nurse Daily Dose of AFA.
Where we bring you hope and inspiration for growth and healing so you can start your day off the AFA way. And in case you've forgotten, guess who wrote a book? Yours truly, right there. You see that man looking right at you? Yeah. Creator.
And I am. I'm looking right at you.
Absolutely amazing. Mark, tell everyone just a little bit about your book, because it's going to kind of lead into the daily love and some of the things we're going to talk about this morning.
Yeah. So, Sherry, I wrote that book. So here's the thing. I've had a mood disorder, depression my whole life, right? And you don't talk about those kinds of things. And here at the Green Nurse, we always talk about things people don't necessarily want to talk about. Well, this was one of the subjects where I said, people got to know that you can have success and happiness in your life and still have these things that you need to deal with. So I wrote the book as, decreasing stigma around mental health. And I also wrote it to talk about all of the things that I was able to bring together after being in so many different therapeutic modalities that actually were able to allow me to live happily in the world in a life that I love. So,
yeah, good stuff. And so this is like a power example for men out there. It's okay to be vulnerable. It's okay to heal.
It's okay
to share. Here it is, right? We're human beings in this big giant meat suit, right? And the biggest gift that we can give ourselves is the gift of understanding what goes on in here. Right? Huge.
It's an inside job, baby. It's an inside job.
It is. And you're so brave and courageous. And I just want to say thank you for writing this.
Yeah, brave and courageous. Some would say silly and stupid, or,
Right.
Some people would say, oh, man, you're stupid talking about that. Now, but I mean, it does change relationships.
But the thing that's interesting about the book, Mark, which I just think is just so fascinating, is you wrote the book for others, but you also wrote it for yourself as a reminder, right? Like this is something that you wrote to remind yourself.
And because I'm a human being, you're a human being. Yeah. This brain is so complex and so automated, really. So, so we need to be reminded of things that we are introduced to and then we believe firmly, but we kind of just forget about. So it was a great reminder, Cher.
Yeah. Good stuff.
Yeah.
We love. What's today's date, Mark?
It is August 12th, Thursday, August 12th, 2021.
Good morning, everybody. Welcome.
Good morning.
Say hello if you're out there in Green Nurse Land. We want to hear from you. Thank you guys for joining us this morning. And we are going to get into the daily love.
What do you got? You got something for us today, Cher?
Some hope and inspiration for growth and healing, hugs and nugs here at the Green Nurse. And I kind of do. So it was really interesting.
Excellent.
I just thought I would share a little bit of something that I found from the holistic psychologist on awakening. So, we're hearing all of these different things, people that are in the spiritual realm, or some people call them the new cage realm or whatever. And we hear about people becoming awake, and it is a real thing. And I didn't experience it truly like on my life. It's been like gradual, but the true realization of this awakening came when I was at my lowest, sick and suffering. So when we think about awakening, it is about becoming aware of our conditioning, right? Or our ego, which is that loud chatterbox in our heads. And so the awakening can be uncomfortable because sometimes we feel like our life was a lie, okay? We may face uncomfortable emotions. And most importantly, we become aware of just how much the belief in our thoughts is causing our own suffering, okay? So that was, and I can relate to that, and I have stories. So awakening is about finding the present moment without judgment, returning to the body, leaving the mental chatter of the mind quiet. Right. Awakening is about mindfulness. So it's really, really interesting. And here's just some examples that the holistic psychologist talked about, signs that you're awakening. And basically the bottom line is that you're doing the internal work to change your inner world by shifting your perception. Okay, it's kind of a big thing. So going in, doing the internal work to change what goes on, the dialogue that you have with yourself. And that is going to shift how you perceive yourself in the outside world. So
Mm,
signs that you're awakening is that you are doing the internal work. You go from feeling hopeless and lost to feeling joyful and optimistic. You feel drawn to quiet spaces, nature, and spirituality. You know that life is meant for more than just work, endless achievement, and trying to please everyone. You gain awareness that most of the things you've been taught to believe in are not true. And these are things about yourself and others. You seek a deeper connection to others rather than surface small talk. Right? You question everything, including your beliefs, which are outside of ourselves. And these are things that we're told. And then you come to a place of where you've evolved and you're able to see different past versions of yourself, how you were, and the personal growth that you've had over time. So awakening, really is just about becoming self-aware of
mm,
how we think, what we do, how we show up in the world, and literally growing mentally, emotionally, and spiritually. And these types of things, you're pulled in. So the other sign of awakening is you're less pulled in, meaning that you're able to detach from fear, dramas, narratives, agendas, stories, and harsh judgment about yourself and others. So here's the whole point and how I can correlate this to cannabis is we're awakening into the world of wisdom of plant medicine, right? You think about that. You have this plant that comes in, and this plant truly changed the trajectory of my mental, emotional, spiritual status, which actually helped my physical body to heal. So cannabis helped to propel my own growth and a lot of those patients that we work with. But however, what I really want to say is cannabis isn't the end all be all. It was much more than just consuming the plant. The most powerful healing work I've ever done in my life has been with the plant medicines, combining cannabis with quiet times of meditation, quiet times of yoga, breath work, journaling, nature therapy, forest bathing, and then the traditional cognitive behavioral therapy and traditional psychiatry.
mhm,
So combining all of these different things with plant medicine helped me to dive deep into my mind, right? And to be able to process emotion from a different perspective, to show up in the world with more hope, living my best life. And the part that we talk about too, and we're not going to get in this today, but a lot of other plant medicines, psychedelics have been really, really helpful with myself and other
mhm.
people that we've worked with. And then how we pair cannabis with that is cannabinoids do support the experience of using these other plant medicines. And we're going to cover that some of them in our future shows. So what do you think, Mark? Awakening. What does that feel like to you?
Well, it's exactly as you described it, Sherry. All of those signs, you just
Yeah.
start to realize that none of it really matters and you let go of expectations. And once you do that, woo, boy,
Yes.
how can you not be joyful when you don't have any expectations?
Right. And well, here it
Right?
is. Appreciation, not expectations. Right.
Right. Right.
Appreciation for what is,
Yeah.
what shows up and how you can
Yeah.
take care of that. So
That's awakening.
cannabinoids.
Yeah.
Yes. So Nurse Mark, how are we doing on your cannabinoid therapeutics? You had some good sleep last night. You shared with me earlier.
Second night in a row, Sherry. Yeah. So I've been, for a long while, I've had issues with sleep. And, my ritual is go to bed, wake up at 3 a.m. and have to write down a whole ton of stuff that is in my head or I'll never go back to sleep.
Yeah.
Sometimes I get up and do that. Sometimes I don't. Anyway,
But
yeah,
it's helping. So
a
the
little
cannabinoids.
RSO. Yep.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Just brought me to a place where I could sleep all the way through the night, which is something that has not happened in a very long time.
Yeah.
So spectacular. Yeah.
Spectacular. And my cannabinoids,
Spectacular.
and I'll just share my cannabinoids for the day. As you all know, I got a big piece of gum on my lip. They stretched my lip down. They cut off the roof of my mouth. They glued it onto my lip. And so I've been having a lot of mouth discomfort, and I'm not allowed to smoke or inhale. So what I've been, and I woke up
Mm,
this morning with, I call it hot mouth, is what I call it, like burning sensation. And so what I'm
yeah,
actually sipping on right now is ice water with a little bit of water soluble CBD. And that's going to
perfect.
lead into what we're talking about today. So what I'm doing is I'm sipping on it, swishing it around, and then
Yeah,
giving a little swallow, you know. Truly,
beautiful.
pain scares me, and here's the thing,
Yeah,
and that's a story, right? The pain scares me because at one point in time in my life, no matter what I did, it didn't go away.
right. And
Right?
once you get to that point,
Oh,
whoa, you lose hope pretty damn
yeah,
quick.
you do. But I
Yeah.
know cannabinoids work, and I know that nourishing the endocannabinoid system
Hmm.
works. It's just a matter of that balance and getting it back,
Right.
right?
Right.
To manage what's going on with my
Right.
cut up mouth.
I hope it feels better.
I know it will. It
Yeah.
will. So more hugs and nugs. So today we're going to talk about what Holistic Caring Network, Elizabeth Mack, has
Yeah.
an introductory to cannabis course. And what we're going to do is we've been going through a few of the slides. And so today I thought it would be really good because we talked a lot yesterday about endocannabinoids, phytocannabinoids, and
Hmm.
fat, the importance of fat. So I thought we
Hmm.
would talk a little bit about therapeutic actions of cannabinoids. And we're going to have a little chart that we pull up and we're going to go through it real quick, which I think would be fun.
This ought to be fun because I don't have two screens, but here we go.
Let's see if we can do this. You got it. You got it. So we're gonna talk about the cannabinoid therapeutics, the main cannabinoids, what they do, how they work, and how they and where they bind, and then the combination, the power pair of THC and CBD.
Can you see that, Sherry?
Oh my God, that's so beautiful. We do. We see that. Hello, everybody. So, this is a beautiful slide that was created from Holistic Caring Network, one of their programs, Introductory to Cannabis. And so, this slide demonstrates, looks at the therapeutic actions of these different specific cannabinoids. So, as you all know, there's over 100 of these phytocannabinoids, but only a few are available for specific purchase because
Mm,
of how how it's set up. We haven't been able to, they haven't completely isolated. We're in this
yeah,
phase
some
of
of these,
growth and
Sherry,
development.
the acidic forms are really volatile. That's why
Yeah,
they haven't done a ton of research with them because they're really hard to keep stable in the lab environment. So that's why, extracting those really becomes an issue. You have to be
right,
really, really refined with your process.
right. So
Yeah.
I really, really like how this diagram shows up. Like I said, we have, we're going to THC, THCA, CBD, CBDA, CBG, and CBN. So we've
Hmm.
covered each of these individually, but now we're just going to kind of look at them all together. And you can kind of see when you have whole plant medicine, as we call pleiotropic, working on that entire umbrella all at the same time, right? You have an endocannabinoid system, tippy top of the umbrella, blankets over our entire body, right? And it regulates all of our 11 organ systems, all of the neurotransmitter signaling systems. So you can see when we bring whole plant medicine to come in and shower on our body, how it's working on multiple different areas all at the exact same time.
Yeah.
That's the part that's so fascinating about this
Isn't
plant.
it? It
Yeah, I love
really
it.
is, Sherry. It has such a positive effect in multiple areas that it just brings you right back to that even keel. You're
Right.
operating exactly as your body was designed.
Yeah, exactly. So, you think about these cannabinoids, they're found in the trichomes, the resinous glands of the plant. And this
Hmm.
is where the medicinal components exist. And so when we're looking at, THC can be impairing at high doses, right? And it is psychoactive, but that's the reason. But psychoactivity isn't necessarily a bad thing. People
No.
get, exactly, because it may alter your senses, your mind, your memory, and your mood, and not in a bad way, right? People,
Right.
this is where we get into judgment and perception
That's
about the
why
different,
that's why it has such a wonderful positive effect for PTSD in some cases
exactly,
because it
exactly.
it's that constant reliving of the event is part of the, part of the syndrome, right?
Yeah.
And cannabis has that ability to extinguish that memory. In other words, it
Right.
just kind of shuts off that connection to it and dampens it so that over time they don't have to experience that over and over again.
Yeah. I look at now, I'm like kind of thinking of it as, you have a light switch, a dimmer switch,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Cannabinoids can either turn the light up
Yeah.
or turn the light down,
Right.
right? It's the dimmer
Yeah.
switching. So you think about like the THC, like exactly like you said,
Hmm.
with patients that have PTSD, it turns the dimmer switch down just a
It
little bit.
does dampens that down just a little bit
Yeah,
in multiple areas of the loop, of the areas that are involved in PTSD.
right. So
Amazing.
it is really amazing. And so for the new viewers too about THC, and the
Hmm.
reason why it can, it's can be impairing at high doses is because it binds to the CB1 and CB2 receptors. CB1 particularly is in the brain,
Right.
right? So you think about that,
Hmm.
and it's a partial agonist, right, at these receptors, which means it doesn't bind fully or plug in fully, but it
Right.
provides the THC molecule is literally 10 times stronger than our anandamide molecule. So if
Right.
you've watched the show before, the plant makes THC. We make an internal endogenous cannabinoid called anandamide.
Hmm.
And the molecular structure is very similar and plugs into those receptors to
Right.
unlock that key to tell our body to do something,
And
right?
and then share we have the synthetic cannabinoids, and the problem with
Hmm.
those is that they're full agonists, and when they bind to that CB1 receptor, they're not letting go. So you
No,
have this longer, much more potent
intense.
effect, right? Intense, which
Yeah,
is why you see a lot more people go to the ER with synthetic cannabinoids than
exactly.
ever
Exactly.
any other cannabinoids. Yeah.
Yeah. And so then now we're going to get a little bit into CBD, right? And we're going to talk about that power couple tomorrow. But CBD is non impairing. However, we've heard people say it's not psychoactive. Well, you know what?
Well,
If it
kind of
interacts
is.
with,
Kind of
kind of
is.
is.
Yeah. Now,
Yeah,
it's
kind of
not
is.
intoxicating, but it's
Right.
psychoactive for sure.
Exactly. And
Yeah.
because it interacts with those neurotransmitters and different
Hmm.
areas of the brain,
Right.
and so cannabis is very relaxing. CBD is very relaxing. Anything that works on brain chemistry and creates a physiological response
Hmm.
in our body is considered to be psychoactive.
Yes.
Now, sugar, caffeine, alcohol,
All
right?
psychoactive. You're
Yeah, all
right, Sherry.
psychoactive.
They're all
Absolutely.
psychoactive.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Great
So
stuff.
the good thing too about CBD, so we can talk a little bit about now our own internal endogenous cannabinoids and what CBD can do. So remember how I
Hmm.
said the plant makes THC,
Hmm.
we make anandamide. So we make anandamide upon demand. So when we consume CBD, CBD can inhibit that enzyme, which
Yeah.
breaks down our own anandamide molecule, which actually why it helps to support the body so well. So, if you look at different CBD preparations, you know, CBD isolate, full spectrum, broad spectrum, right? What it does is you get that CBD into your body and it starts to work on all of the neurotransmitter signaling systems and indirectly to the CB1 and CB2 and works on this enzyme to keep your own bliss molecule moving through your body. So the power of CBD, I love it. And the other thing too that I like too with CBD is, it doesn't bind directly to CB1 or CB2 receptors the way that
Right.
THC does, but it
Yeah. And they were
assists.
shocked when they found that out. They thought
Right,
for sure CBD was going to connect right to CB2, right?
right,
CBD. Yeah.
right, right. But it docks up alongside of it, right? We call it an
Yeah.
allosteric
It's that dimmer
modulator.
switch you were talking about. It's like,
Exactly.
we'll let a little out. No, now we're going to let it all out.
Exactly. And there's a lot of misinformation too about CBD. I've heard patients say, whoa, no CBD for me. I don't want it to ruin, what's happening. I don't want it to ruin my THC. And I
Yeah.
always like to say, no, 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 it's going to help it. It's going to make it work better.
Oh, yeah.
A-
Like a
And
lock and key, Sherry.
absolutely. And CBD allows me to tolerate the amount of THC that I need to
Yeah.
manage my symptoms. So that's the part
Yeah.
that's so cool. CBD is
That's
a great modulator.
that's cannabis medicine.
Cannabis
Whoa.
medicine. Absolutely. And so then we have some of these other cannabinoids up here on the list that you all can see: THCA, CBDA,
Yep.
CBG. Those are all anti-inflammatory.
Hmm.
We
In a
see
big way.
a big wig way. The acidic
Yeah.
compounds are really, really
Oh yeah. THCA,
fascinating.
CBDA, very, very potent anti-inflammatories.
Yeah. And so to get those,
Yeah.
THC and CBDA, you need to get it from raw plant medicine.
Yeah.
Okay. So when they first harvest the plant, juicing it is probably the best way to get it. However, they
Absolutely.
do have ways of extracting it, cold extractions, to pull out the THC and the CBDA and to preserve it in a way so it doesn't convert. Right.
Yeah.
So with
The
heat,
beauty of juicing, Sherry, is you
uh,
get all of those acidic forms and their great properties, right? But you
yeah,
don't get any intoxication because that THCA hasn't been converted yet.
exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. So then we talk about THCV. You see that up on the list, and that may improve metabolic function. We've covered this before. It boosts energy and it can be used, we've seen it in helping to regulate glucose metabolism with those patients
Hmm.
that have diabetes. And then what else do we have, Mark? We got CBN.
CBN.
Yeah, we talked about CBN. We've covered, and all of our different shows that we've had so far, we've covered all of these different specific cannabinoids and getting
Yeah.
into detail about what they do and the research behind them. But now we just want to cover today, the main ones, so you can all see the synergistic action and how it works on our body all at the same time.
Boom.
So CBN, what some of the research that has shown is that the isolated compound alone isn't as sedating unless you
Hmm.
use the rest of the plant, right?
Yeah.
Whole plant medicine.
Getting that interaction. Yep.
And then there was in Elizabeth's class, she talked a little bit about delta 8, and we
Yep.
covered that as well on our show. And delta 8 does have
Hmm.
similar medicinal properties of delta 9, but it has 1/3 less the psychoactivity,
Right.
which is interesting. And I'll just say too, I'll just pop in there, is that before my dental procedure, I
Yep.
did take a delta 8 about an hour and a half before, and it did help to keep me calm. I didn't want to. So here's the thing too, is taking delta 9 sometimes can stimulate me where I hyper focus, right? And so I don't want to be
Yeah.
hyper focusing on the knife in my mouth.
Yeah, I know. You want to be like over here,
Yeah,
hanging out.
I needed things to be dampened down. So it was a little
Right.
bit of delta 8 and a lot of CBD, which helped me to get through
Beautiful.
this.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. The beauty of that is, Sherry, that your mouth heals so quickly. In another
Yeah.
day, you should be just fine.
And you have my pearly whites back instead of the big piece of gum.
Yeah, you'll have your pearly whites.
Mm.
Beautiful teeth.
So, anyways, getting back to the plant and cannabinoids, right? So,
Yeah.
what is the bottom line? Whole plant, full spectrum. All the cannabinoids are working together harmoniously and synergistically in what we call the entourage effect. So, just for
Boom.
example, right, the whole of the plant is greater than its individual parts. Here's a really fun analogy, Mark. So, if you
I
give an
love this
example,
one, Sherry.
I know this is a good one. So you think about symphony hall in the orchestra, right?
Yeah.
It's so lovely to hear the solo violin playing at the time. But when we hear the entire orchestra
Yeah.
playing together, it's
Yeah.
even more beautiful, right?
Beautiful analogy, Sherry.
It is. So just think about comparing it to cannabis. So taking CBD isolate is only part of the medicine. CBD isolate is great and I love it, but just
Yeah.
think the orchestra of the other cannabinoids working together,
Right. Right.
providing healing benefits to soothe and restore our body back to balance.
Yeah. And I think, but everything has its place, right? Isolate has its
Absolutely.
place when somebody absolutely cannot have any THC
Oh
because
yeah,
of
I'm
testing requirements, right?
yep,
Isolate's good. But you're right. There's and we may get into this tomorrow.
we will.
Isolates over time are less effective than
Yep,
whole plant. Yeah. Awesome.
because of the
Great.
bell curve, and we're gonna show
Exactly.
that. Yeah, we're gonna
Oh,
show
we're
that.
gonna have fun.
Yes, we're gonna bell curve of CBD isolates, whole plant medicines, and discuss the power couple of CBD and THC
And we'll
tomorrow.
probably talk about the area under the curve. Get
The
ready.
area. The area under the
The
curve.
AUC. Oh, here we go, folks.
Oh, goodness, goodness gracious. So this has been an awesome show today on
Yes, Sherry. Another
awakening.
amazing.
I call it awakening to the wisdom of plant medicine, right? And
Yes.
and if you haven't joined the community, here we go.
Hmm.
Right there. The green nurses have moved into the Holistic Caring Network
Yes.
community. And we're thrilled to be there. Join the community. It's uncensored. It's free. Free introductory course to cannabis. Free patient support group. Free book club. It's for all
Yes.
people, providers, and patients. And we're coming together. We're coming together off of social media so we can have a place for people to come that are new, that may be scared, that have a lot of questions, that want to be in a private environment. So please,
They could,
please come join
yeah,
us.
yeah.
Yeah,
Uncensored. Can actually
uncensored.
talk about it.
Yeah, exactly. And all of our
Yeah.
podcasts are there in one place too, as well. So, which is a really good thing.
Yeah.
So
Come on
here
and
we go.
join us. Yeah,
So
go ahead,
come
Sherry.
on and join us. We got this.
Yeah.
It's gonna be a good day today,
It's an
Mark.
AFA day
AFA.
already for me. Absolutely. Good
Good.
to see all of you as usual.
Thank
Thanks
you
for
for
being
joining
here.
us. Yes.
Yeah, big AFA day. Remember, today is the only one of these you'll
That's
get.
it.
It's the only
Hmm.
Thursday, August 12th, 2021. Let's
Yep.
make it the best day. Sherry, what is it really all about?
Oh, it is always about living your best life and helping others do the same. Have a fabulous day, everyone. We
Bye,
got this.
everybody.